Welcome to That Changes Everything, a podcast about whatever we want, whenever the hell we feel like it. I'm your host, Josh, and with me, as always,
Me motherfucking Pete.
Frankie. What do you think about Frank this week?
He did pretty good in that challenge. He went a little crazy at the end, though.
So yeah, man, it's been interesting last couple episodes here with this last live elimination challenge, especially. I think it's getting a little bit better though overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode, probably this week more than the other few weeks. I don't know if that's because it's actually getting better or because I'm just getting more involved with the characters and learning more about them. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I think it's a little bit more to do with the character development. I mean, they haven't shown us quite that much. I mean, obviously, it's a new show. They really need to work it out. I'm sure if they do this again, it'll be better. Maybe get some better producers in there. They seem to do that with reality shows, and a lot of these shows they kind of change people in and out pretty quick.
Definitely after the first couple of weeks, it was like a little iffy, but seems like they're pulling it together. I like that this new challenge was the Duel of Destiny was not just like put your biggest guy in, but more like I mean the biggest guy still won, but it was a speed and agility and kind of run and chase and hide as opposed to the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, well, gosh, man, I almost had to disagree with you on that. It's like, I mean, I'm sure that's what they envisioned these guys, but they sure didn't like set the course up right, and they didn't really get the effect that they wanted to out of that. They could have just thrown a puzzle in there and done something like that, and maybe evened it out.
I think if Angela wouldn't have ran straight into Frank, I mean she
Right.
literally landed off the
Well,
zip line and just ran straight into Frank's arms. So
actually, I've got some strong thoughts about that, and we'll get into that. But I'll tell you what. Hey, we're talking about if actually we're going to be talking about the net last two episodes here. We got episode 5, and this we're taking place like right after Wyatt gets eliminated. Wyatt was not happy after that elimination. He was. I think he flipped his team off. It was
yeah,
just kind of like they threw him under the bus, and people weren't happy on that side. What did you think about that?
well, I think his team was happy that he left.
Hmm. Yeah, I was wondering that myself because they definitely said they didn't want him gone, and I believe them because he was a big, powerful guy.
Yeah, he's a powerful player. Maybe they don't like his personality, but they definitely need him around for challenges.
Right.
But like I said last week, I think it was kind of like they could have put up the other guy,
Steve?
Steve.
Or-
Yeah, he probably could have competed just as well. But I think, like the girl was saying, attitude-wise, they just like Steve better. So if Wyatt was gone, it
Right.
wouldn't be so tough for him. But
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think they might.
and
They
he
really
just he
thought.
just confirmed for them that they made the right decision when he flipped out, started flipping them off and saying "fuck you guys" and everything. It's like,
Right. I truly think that they thought that Wyatt would able to beat Jesse in that challenge,
he almost did.
well, I'll tell you what, and there was a big point. I watched a exit, or I didn't watch actually. I read an interview with Wyatt after the show, and he talked basically about how close it was there in the end, and that he even thinks a little part of him, which is in his words saying a little part of him gave up, and I think it was a big part. I think that there was a point there where he after they voted him in, he felt so hurt that he just didn't even want to be there anymore.
Yeah, he said that you guys broke the pact or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think he kind of threw that challenge in the. I mean, I don't know
I
completely.
don't think he
Maybe
threw
it's
it. I
not.
think he
Yeah,
defeated himself before he went in, though, just by he was just being really negative.
right. Yeah,
Fuck my
that's probably a
team.
better way to
Fuck this
put it.
shit. Like,
True. Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, because I think he should have won there. I mean, it looked
he
like
was ahead. He had a decent lead. I mean,
there was a point there where he grabbed like one sword and then he went to find another, and before Jesse could get his, and then when Jesse picked up his, he kind of went for it, but I couldn't tell if he just gave up or he was just real tired too. It seemed like his body was giving out almost too.
yeah, maybe he didn't feel like running back and putting it in the thing, so he's like, "Oh, I'll find one more sword, and then I'll have two to run up there or whatever."
Yeah. So I think the next real interesting thing that happened on this episode was there was the point in on Team Jetsons there where they were all sitting around eating, and Jesse suggested throwing the challenge.
I think this is the reason why Jesse is now the favorite player
Yeah,
because he showed some real strength of character and humility to say, "Hey, let's let him come over here and get a shower, and let's go over there and show America that, we can handle that too. We're not a bunch of sissies who just want to stay in the future all the time."
yeah, no, I think Jesse's really stepping it up. I think a lot of people are liking it, and me, me as well. Like I did like what he was doing. He seemed a lot different in these last couple episodes. I think he himself is realizing maybe how he's looking on TV, and as a veteran of reality television,
Well, he
you
came in at a disadvantage by breaking the dude's leg, supposedly. And so right from the get-go, he's down at the bottom. So he's like trying his best to save some face and get back into the good graces of the American people, I guess, the viewers.
right, and I don't. I truthfully, I wonder if people really just don't like that about him, or if it's just kind of how he holds himself up there. Sometimes
Well,
he's too.
that's what Jeffrey says. You belittle everyone and
Yeah,
make everyone feel like shit.
he seems a little too perfect sometimes, is all. But
Yeah,
I do like him, and he's definitely growing on me.
yeah, I like Jesse. Him and Frank have been probably my top two.
So, but okay, so when Jesse suggests throwing the challenge, well, first of all, I mean, I'm thinking that's a good idea. I don't see why they didn't think about this more.
Well,
Like
they don't have to throw it. They win and they go to the pass.
exactly either way exactly if they win or they lose
And
they could
and
end up
when Jesse brings this up, how do you like Mercy's reaction, the new girl?
absolutely.
She
Okay,
goes
so
crazy black girl out of nowhere, right? She just starts getting nuts with everybody.
yeah, I mean, she got real passionate there, and I think that that's where it's like some people that come on shows, they have an idea of how they're going to be before they go on there, and some people kind of have an idea of I'm going to be the bad guy, I'm going to be like more of an evil character, and I think that Mercy maybe and Jeffrey, it seems on that team seemed like want to do that, like really just like they know that they're going to get a little bit more airtime if you're the bad guy. I mean, this is true in like Survivor and a lot of these other like reality shows.
Well, I definitely agree with you with Jeffrey. Mercy, I think she just had a little moment of, I don't know. Maybe she was worried everyone was going to be like, yeah, let's go to the pass. So she really wanted to be passionate about, no, I do not want to do that. I don't know if she's actually like, because remember Jesse says to her, "Oh well, do you think America would have voted you to be in the House if they saw this side of you?"
Right.
And they kind of left it at that. And she kind of had a weird look on her face, like, "Oh,
It's
yeah,
hard to tell her look sometime with those contacts.
I know."
It throws me off a lot, but well, yeah. And I was wondering, it's I don't know. She seems like maybe she it kind of went to her head that America voted her in. So you got to realize there wasn't a lot of people to choose from. There wasn't a lot of people who voted that. I don't know if you ever saw that page. And
Mm-mm.
there was like a Russian girl or like some European girl that I thought would have been interesting. Just because I thought, hey, a girl from like another country, like
Yeah,
maybe that would have been cool. So that was my vote. But maybe Mercy kind of that went to her head. She figured she thinks she's maybe the favorite, but after looking at the popularity index, she must realize she will. And then I was looking at it earlier, and she is like bottom, like her and Frank.
after she flipped out, yeah, I'm sure everybody's like, "Oh, what the hell's wrong with that chick?"
Yeah, absolutely. So and yeah, she told Jesse, "You can't undo breaking a leg," which was a weird
I
statement.
know, like she's trying to like psychoanalyze him or something.
Well, it seemed like she was kind of trying to throw her own team under the bus there.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And then they got her back. So when the next challenge happened, they sat her out.
Right, right. They're like, "No way, chick, you're nuts. You're sitting out."
So we had this blindfolded challenge. Okay, so you had all the teams, and I guess it seemed like they were all blindfolded, so they didn't see the course beforehand, which I was wondering.
Yeah, it looked like
Because
they brought him out there like that.
okay, and you had this kind of obstacle course set up with like different numbered planks, and then you had this VGO. This I was trying to figure out this thing. This Verizon like robot thing that's got like a iPad on it or
Oh,
something.
the Vigo. It's
The
called
Vigo, there we go.
Vigo.
It's VGO, but yeah, Vigo. That's what they call it.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at that thing on their website last week.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm. What you so do you know about it? Like, what is it? What, is this used for anything other than like this challenge? Like, what would you use this for?
the application has been like, you're a business executive and you need to, you're traveling and then you need to be in a meeting somewhere back at the office. So you have your Vigo roll in there in your place and it like has your face on FaceTime and it's kind of like you're there talking to everybody, but you're,
Hmm.
in some other
So
country or
other
something.
than just like setting up a monitor and having your voice over that, you gotta show off and be like, my Vigo's coming in.
Yeah, no, they have applications for like like museums or stuff like that where it's like a guided tour type thing
I see.
or
Okay.
you know.
See, at first it reminded me of kind of like the police and the military kind of use that robot that kind of cruises in and does stuff, but it just seemed like if it was in that environment, it would just fall over and then it could do nothing.
Yeah, it's definitely not a military robot.
Yeah, that technology was confusing to me. I didn't get it, but so okay, so Sam gets picked on her team to be like what the
Eh,
talk like the one who tells everyone where to go. And so well, yeah, let's start out with that. I thought she had a good strategy. It seemed like she was real calm and the way she was kind of having like whoever was on that side of the circle that they had, which way they had to go. Okay, walk towards this guy, and then he would start moving, and they could kind of feel it go that way.
Yeah, you could tell in the editing they cut a lot of stuff out,
Yeah, yeah,
but from when I watched it, I thought, oh wow, they did a really good job.
yeah.
And then when I watched Chronos, I thought, oh well, Epoch totally kicked their ass because they had it way more together. This team's kind of like they had the one, what's her name, Deanna or something, the blonde
Danielle.
Danielle. Yeah, she's like walking backwards the whole time, doesn't know what's going on, getting
He kept
dragged
telling them
around.
to slow down, and
Yeah, and I mean they just seem to have a lot more issues with it.
they did.
And
It's
I thought they would, but the editing, you never know.
See, I was wondering that too, and at first I thought the same thing. I figured they edited it like that, but I mean, I think truthfully, like in the end, Frank was
That's what I was gonna
just
say.
yeah,
Frank pretty much saved them that extra 5 minutes because
oh yeah,
he was just like, I know where to go. We're
yeah.
going this way, and he was just like, didn't even need a direction at a certain point. He already knew the whole course and was able to feel his way around without being told which way to go.
Yeah, and then this leads into my next question, which we're kind of answering already. But I mean, like, it's like what was Sam's strategy there? She was so calm and precise, but I mean, I think that really slowed them down in the end because, I mean, it was like okay, she was talking so calm and slow, and that's fine and everything, and she was and her strategy of pushing him around, moving him around was perfect, I thought. But I think her sense of urgency just wasn't there.
I think she was just worried she didn't want them to like start falling over or something and
Yeah.
then waste more time. But I felt that way too. Like thought she was doing a really good job with like telling everyone what to do, but she needed to tell them move faster. I think there were even a few points where she's like, "Take your time,"
Yeah.
and it's like she should have been like, "Move your asses! You guys want a fucking shower? Let's do this shit."
It seemed like this was a typical kind of tortoise versus the hare scenario, but the tortoise won in this because it was like slow and steady wins the race, but not here because Frank just kind of was like, "Move out of my way,"
Yeah,
and he,
he was even just telling Jesse, "Oh, I got it. I know where to go. You don't have to tell me."
So it did seem weird. So okay, so when Frank, let's move on to the next team. So when Frank got that first piece, and at first they were like Jesse. He had Jr. moving around the course to get back to the ramp. Once they kind of got it around to the ramp, it seemed like Frank knew exactly where he was going. Like he was even
Like he
like
could
Jr.
see.
Well, yeah, I don't know, or it's like I don't know, like it seemed weird because he was like, oh, it's got to be this way. And he told like because Jr. asked him, here, okay, hand it to me, and he's like, oh, but you got to turn around, it's got to be this way. And then as soon as he set it down, Frank grabbed it and said, "Oh, it's got to be pushed up this way." So I'm not sure exactly how he knew
I think
where
they
to.
might have edited out stuff Jesse was saying in their ear.
Okay,
And,
maybe.
and another thing, I think Frank even mentioned it after the competition, which I was thinking, I was like, Frank's totally going to kill this because firefighters, when
Yeah,
they're in a building full of smoke, they
right.
just have to learn by moving around, feeling walls. Kind of, they have this
Yeah,
instinctual sense of direction that they kind of
absolutely.
develop over time of where they're at, where stuff is at, and they don't really need to see to know that. And I think
Right.
Frank really brought it on this challenge with that. I mean, this guy's a really key asset to their team. I think without
Oh,
Frank,
absolutely.
dude, I mean,
He really is. You know, and he's shown it. He's shown it in like the last, well, obviously in this challenge and in the other challenges, what the worldy challenges. So yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
he disappointed me though when he said he's never going to the pass because I was when they asked Jesse and them,
Right.
"Are you going to go to the pass?" I was hoping they would vote. I was like, "Okay, Frank will vote, Jesse will vote, Set will vote."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Ah, oh, Frank didn't vote. What a bum!" It's probably just Jesse and Lisette.
No, absolutely. Well, no, actually, well,
Maybe
yeah, Jesse
Deanna
and
too,
Lisette
or what's her name again?
and
Danielle.
Danielle, and it's funny. They didn't even show her, which it's kind of sad. Like her edit on the show is weird because it's almost like she's not even on the show.
Well, last week I didn't even know she was on their team.
Yeah,
Or you
and
mean Lisette or the other one?
no, I'm saying, well, Danielle.
Danielle. Yeah, last week I was asking you what? There's a blonde on their team?
Yeah, and they really haven't shown much with her, and it seemed like the only reason they really showed her this week was because she got picked.
Yeah, I was like, who's this hottie? Did she just join the game or what?
Yeah, yeah, no, and it's funny they kind of bring up how she's playing America's Sweetheart on there. So I'd be interested to see, like we talked about before, how many of these people are, I don't know, actors or just want to be on television.
Aspiring actors, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but and we talked about. I mean, Frank killed that challenge. I think he really was why they won that challenge.
Yeah,
And when Jesse, obviously Jesse, and you brought that up too, Jesse. I think his directing was good.
yeah, I think Frank's shown himself to be a complete animal, and I mean Jesse won the Duel of Destiny. He did pretty good guiding everyone around, got the win for them there. So my two favorite guys that everyone hated started to pull it
Yep.
out.
Nice.
Woo! Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank.
Hulk smash.
Messy Jesse. Oh, I don't know what to call
We'll
Jesse.
figure it out. So,
Hairstylist Jesse. Oh,
all right. So, okay. Let's move on here. Okay. So, I was interested about this eating situation. Like, they don't. I mean, they got into it a little bit this week. They were showing, like, they brought up that Kronos, Jetsons, like, they pretty much have like an unlimited pantry. They're cooking a lot. They got a lot of food. So, but that's kind of to be expected. But it was more interesting, I thought, on the Flintstones side here that like okay, it seems like they are getting food, at least 3 times a day, because and I'm wondering about that because it seems like they like it's put in the backyard area, and then they come all walking in and they get to see what's on the table that day. Like, what are they eating that day? Like one day it was like fish heads after they had lost a challenge, and then one day it was after they lost that last challenge it was the rabbit.
I
But
think
then
it's
like
only the day of the challenge they get anything, though. I think the rest of the days they just get potatoes and carrots.
okay, because and they've had like coconuts and stuff one time. Like for breakfast one time they had coconuts. But I want to ask about this eating situation, because how hungry were they? Because when that rabbit came out, the girls it seemed like they didn't want to eat it, and I'm wondering if anybody ate that. Because dude, truthfully, I would have fired. I mean, I don't know if they get any kind of salt, pepper, or anything, but I
Oh,
would have fried that guy up. Rotisserie
oh,
rabbit.
I'm sure that it got ate. Harry Potter was like, "Oh, I'm eating that for sure," because when you're hungry enough, anything you cook it up and eat it. Like,
Yeah, I'm wondering how hungry they really are.
you never know, dude. It seems like they have like a steady supply of at least basic food coming in. Like,
Yeah, I'm thinking they get some kind of seasonings and stuff too. And I was noticing at one point today they were showing the Jetsons team, and you could kind of see the glass wall behind them, and looking into their to the Flintstones bathroom, and it looked like they had some amenities in there, like like maybe they had like some lotions or like some little bottles of like
Really?
shampoo or something in there. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and check it out because yeah, it looked like there was something in there.
I wonder if that's because of Jeffrey throwing shit over the wall. I bet you it is. I bet he throws that shit over the wall.
Well, then he in well that's a good point too. Actually, there was the well, we'll get into it. Well, but it's great. I'm just going to bring it up now. There was the point in the next episode where Jr. and they brought out Jr. and Jeffrey.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Because the only
It was so
reason for
weird.
that was for drama, right? It was like, we're going to have
Yeah,
a drama interview. That's not part of the show or any regularly scheduled thing that's supposed to
dude, the
happen.
producers are desperately trying to get some strategy like in this game and make it more like a little bit more like Survivor. I think and to try to like okay, look, these guys have an alliance. Like I'm surprised there's nobody else doing that.
You know what I don't see a lot of in this that you always see in Survivor and other shows is like the confessional, where people are like by themselves talking
Mm,
about things.
yeah,
I don't
that's
see a
true.
lot of that. They just show a lot of the interaction and
Yeah.
some stuff like they did on that show where they have the two guys come out and talk to Luke Tipple for some reason. But
Yeah, yeah, no, they do it a little bit, but not too much. And I'm assuming, well, they got two areas, so I wonder. That's another good question. I wonder if they're like the other people are just there, or if they're kind of sequestered in the back, or who knows.
yeah, maybe they don't have anywhere to take them.
Well, you have the back area, and then you have the front area, like or like the kind of the in-house area, and then other than that, you got the like the I'm assuming like the front yard or whatever the present wherever that is.
What they need is a little closet with a camera in it where people can sit down and talk about shit.
They do, and they hopefully next season they'll kind of figure that out. They really need some. I think they need some more cameras in there, just set up. We need a little bit more access, more. Just like we should be able to have a camera that we can access 24/7 just to see what's going on.
Yeah, if this thing's all hooked up to Twitter and all that, they should have like a live web feed at least of each main room or something.
Yeah, no, they really do need to do that.
Or the showers, whatever they want to do.
All right. So okay, so in this episode before the live episode, just real quick point I wanted to bring up. I noticed when I was rewatching it that Angela it actually bring up getting Frank out to the other girls. The three girls
And
were
when she
there.
was asked about it, she said, "Yeah, agility and speed. I'm confident with that. I can do this," or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and even she did, and even before that, but like when they were talking about who they might pick on the other team, she talked about Frank right away. I just didn't think she thought about her going up against him
Right.
right away. Anyway.
But I'm wondering if when she said that stuff about, I'm good with that, if she was just trying to like, say that to sound good and didn't really want to go, or if
Mm,
she really meant like, yeah, I think I can do this.
yeah. No.
Because it
Well.
seemed like she really didn't want to go into it towards the end there. She was like, yeah, I'm doing it because they picked me and I'm not going to bitch about it like I'm, what's his name, the crazy guy. What was his name again? Walt? Willie?
Wyatt. Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Yeah. No. And that's on the next episode, and we're pretty much done
Oh,
with
we
this one,
skipped
and I'll get
ahead.
into.
Sorry, I
That's
do
it.
that
We
all
always do it.
the
That's
time.
fine. Believe me, I've got some points about that. But let's finish this off, like this episode off, real quick because we're almost there anyway. But so okay, so Lauren ends up being the favorite, least favorite Jesse. And then so we end up with our they both have to pick one person to kind of go with their reward and their punishment. Lauren picks Sam, Jesse picks Frank.
And Lauren, no question, even doesn't even think about Angela. Just boom, it's Sam.
I thought that was odd too because I mean and Sam is or I mean Angela, I mean look at her, she really bit the bullet like this whole time, like she was really kicking ass, I think, the whole time, and it seemed like like maybe her team wasn't giving her the credit that they should have. Why did she go up twice?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that Lauren and Sam's popularity will go down because it's obvious that, they throw Angela up in the first challenge. She wins it for them, takes out one of the other players. Then she doesn't get to be the protected.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to this thing, they're like, oh, we want to throw you up. Then when it comes to the reward, they're like, oh, forget Angela. Let's take this girl who's done pretty much nothing. I mean, what has Sam done? I mean,
Yeah,
they show in the clips Angela's making all the food, Angela's doing all the challenges. What does Sam do? Nothing.
yeah.
Those two girls just like think they
I
have
think
the
Sam's
game
like
on
the comic
lockdown.
relief, uh, and and yeah, and it's interesting. I would like to see who like really does a lot of the work around camp, because I saw that in Wyatt's exit interview that he was basically saying that he basically was taking care of everybody there, like when he was there, like he was doing the fires and kind of keeping everything going.
I'm definitely liking Lauren a lot less the way she's been acting because it's like she doesn't do things fair. It's like just she's just like me and Sam, we're the ones that are running the show over here. And
Uh-huh.
they had Angela up to a point where they had her kind of had their back, and she was trying to like get in with them and be part of the girls. But they just kept dissing her and putting her up for elimination every time. I mean, why was there no question that one of the other people would go up? It's always like just Angela. Why was there never any question about are we gonna put if we're gonna put up someone who's agile and fast, are we gonna put up Sam or are we gonna put up Angela, one of the girls, right?
Right.
It's
Well,
just
okay.
automatically it's going to be Angela. There's no question like, hey, maybe Sam should go up there. She's a girl. She's small. She could be fast and agile and everything, get in small spaces. No, it's just automatically it's Angela. I mean, I
Yeah, I
really
think
felt like
as
she was on the outside of that little tight thing that they had.
yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting because like they showed when the guys when Steve and JR came up and they talked to um, Sam about who she was going to pick to be to put up. They both kind of talked about, well, you know, maybe you don't want to put up the guys because if one of us goes out, then you're only going to have one guy left on the team.
Right, so it's between the girls. They didn't consider the other girl, they only considered Angela. There was never like any question like, well, maybe this girl should go up. She hasn't done a damn thing the whole freaking show. It's like,
Yeah,
let's put Angela up, the one who already won one for us, you know?
yeah.
And I
All
don't
right,
know.
but again, we're skipping. I've been thinking, well, whatever. We skipped way ahead there. So let's finish this. Lauren is favorites. Okay, so Lauren and Sam, they got their spa treatment. That seemed like they loved that. That was pretty funny. Them going over there and doing their little spa treatment. The Danielle was all super nice to them. They went in, did their spa treatment, and they loved it. Jesse and Frank's punishment just seemed like way more interesting, though. It was kind of funny when they came over and they had this kind of list for them. Like, okay, so you're gonna clean our poo, you're gonna massage our feet, cook our dinner, and like keep our fire going. I guess I think was the other thing.
I thought
Uh,
that was pretty lame of them to be like, you dudes need to massage our feet. Like, I wouldn't want some other dude massaging my feet.
dude, at that point I would have done it. I don't care. I wouldn't. I'd be like, I want Frank too, dude. Make you get in there, man. Use those big hands and massage. Why not?
Frank was mad about that.
That you know what? I think JR was loving every second of it.
Yeah, they definitely had fun with that one.
Yeah. What did you think about? So they finally showed the toilet where these guys are going to the bathroom. Now,
Well, they keep
so
talking about the turds. It's like, aren't you supposed to bury it? They just take a dump in there and then just leave it sitting there?
well, there's a hole. So I think it's basically like an outhouse with like a fake like
Wood thing over
stone
it.
structure. Yeah, like wood base with a stone structure kind of built around it. With like a hole. It's kind of like it all kind of goes down. It like siphons down into like this this porta potty thing that's down on the bottom. I'm sure because
But it
I,
needs to be cleaned out, apparently.
well, I think I was assuming. Okay, now I know what you're talking about because you're talking about when Wyatt was talking about his poo and there's buckets and shit, right? So maybe you're right. Maybe there's must be like a bucket or something under there that they have to like get rid of every once in a while.
Yeah,
And then,
because they were like cleaning up poop. Like
mhm.
they were cleaning up the other people's feces.
Yeah,
It's not like there's any type of plumbing going on in there.
yeah. No, that that was the only thing that made the punishment seem really like a punishment.
Crazy. Yeah, I was like, dude, I would refuse that. I mean, keep your $100,000. I ain't touching nobody's shit.
And you can tell these guys don't know how to cut wood because they were like cutting it the wrong way. They had no idea what they were doing.
Dude, cutting wood is hard.
If you know how to do it, I mean, it is very hard, and but as a kid, I learned how to cut wood, and if you do it right and you set it up right, or you got to cut along the grain the right way, and these guys were kind of doing it backwards. It was kind
They're
of fun
just
to watch.
beating on it with the axe, yeah.
So okay, so in the end, okay, the teams have to choose who their protected are. Is picked as protected. Danielle's picked as protected. And then Luke says, "Speed and agility will be of the essence." That's basically the end of that one episode right there. All right, so okay, so then another thing on this episode, they started getting into like kind of more what was going on in the house. I think that they've been listening to the people like on Twitter and stuff about like what's really going on in the house, like how like they tried to show the Flintstones team like the day in the life that they're all smelly and how it is for them to cook food. It just it doesn't seem too interesting again. Like I love the storyline over there. I love the team dynamic over there. But as far as the technology goes, it's way more interesting again on the Jetson side there.
Yeah, I was glad they did a little spotlight on like the bathroom, the
Yeah.
shower, and the heated toilets, and they said even the ground is warmed up and the toilet
We
remembers
talked
who
about this
you
in the first
are.
episode how great it is, and yeah, they said the floor heats up, the seats cool and heat, which we knew that, but then I guess it remembers who you are.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
nuts. I don't know.
when you go in there, it knows how you like it, and then it like kind of knows like what radio station you want on, and
Yeah, it's like having your custom settings in your car or something.
and then they had the Spiro. We talked about this before, where they have got like a little ball that they remote control around the house.
Yeah, I guess that's some sort of tablet gaming thing where you can like play little games with it with your tablet or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's I looked it up. It said something like robot gaming for that tablet, and you sit there and play little games on your tablet, and it involves the ball or something.
So is this thing just like a remote control ball, or is there something you can actually do with it other than just kind of roll around?
I kind of wanted to get one to check it out. I thought it would be cool to have my cat chase it around,
Oh,
but I
that's a
don't
good
know.
point. A good dog or like cat toy there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, if you're too lazy to play fetch with your dog, you just sit out there in the yard in your lawn chair, and
How
on your
quickly do
tablet,
how quickly
throwing the
does your
ball.
dog destroy that thing and then you're out? Like how much? What did you say? It's like $100.
Yeah, I don't know what the durability is on those. Probably not capable of handling too much from the dog.
Yeah, and then they got it looks like one of those old school kind of sit down video games, like Pac-Man, but I guess you don't sit down, you just stand above it with your iPhone or whatever and you control it.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I saw that thing, and I guess it has like hundreds of games on it. And that was the thing that the gamer girl Rachel said she most wanted to take home from the house.
See, it would have been cool if Rachel was still in the show, and I think she would have really been appreciating all that technology and kind of showing it off.
She'd be beating everyone at all the video games.
Yeah.
It's too bad she had to go out so early.
I don't. They show like that they every once in a while they get like mimosas and stuff, but I think they really need to be giving the people, on the Jetson side there like more alcohol because that always makes for
More drama, yeah.
yeah, and a good in-house experience. Yeah, and get them all wasted every night. So the other team, it gives the other team can like see what's happening on the other side.
Yeah,
Plus,
give them a chance to get smashed and have a hangover so the other team can beat them the next day at
yeah,
the World Challenge,
absolutely. They should be getting drunk. That happens like I watch like King of the Nerds and like some of these other shows, and that happens on a lot of these shows. Like they get a lot of free booze, and then the people who just act like a fool, like it brings those people out. It's a lot more drama. It's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and the side that has the future side, give them, tons of booze and shit. But the other side, they'll just be all have their game face on when they get to the
Yeah,
challenge, and then they'll win their way over to the other side.
absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
All right, Brian, we're gonna start running this show.
yep, we're gonna have to just go apply to be the producers.
All right, so and then okay, we talked about this before. So now you got this present like team meeting thing that they do like each week now, where they have the deciders, the two people who are picked as the protected, kind of come up and talk to the other team, and I mean I could see how this like in a show that like people were actually playing really good strategies, if they took them individually and really started working out some strategy and trying to come up with some alliances and things, then this would work. But it doesn't seem like too many people, other than like Jeffrey, is thinking anything about like alliances and strategy as far as that goes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think when they came up with this concept for the show, they had envisioned a lot more strategy going on, and this being like one of the chances for them to like talk to the other team and strategize.
Yeah,
It's really kind of just like, oh, hey, what's up? Right on. Okay, cool. What do you think? Oh, yeah, okay, whatever.
right.
And then the other girl, I don't want to get her name wrong again. Danielle?
Danielle, yeah.
Okay. Danielle didn't even bother taking him aside. She just gives him this, seemed contrived to me, this speech, just kind of like trying to put on a front of like, hey, I'm a good person. I've got all this integrity. I'm up front, and I just say it how it is and call an ace an ace. I don't know. I wasn't buying it.
Yeah, no, and I, I wasn't either because it seems like she's really playing. We talk like America's Sweetheart thing. Like she thinks like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then maybe America will like me, and I'll get the vote. It just seemed like that's the only reason she was doing that.
Yeah. Some
You
people
know,
just aren't. I don't have a good poker face. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and then okay, so they all come back into the house after that, and then they're all kind of discussing what they learned. And this is where Jeffrey's big mistake comes up. Like, if this guy really, like, he says, "Hey, I watch these type of shows. I'm not the only one doing strategy." But then, okay, so he's just not really good at it, man. I mean, okay, he brings up that he told Sam he didn't want to go against JR. Okay, why? Like, what? Like,
You mean
what kind
Danielle? He told Danielle.
of no, no, no. I'm saying that oh, was it?
Oh no,
No, no.
you're still
Sam.
talking about this
Sam
little
was.
meeting. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought you
yeah.
were
No,
talking about after that.
yeah, no. Sam was protected. She comes over and she took him aside, and he brought up to her that he didn't want to go against JR apparently, and but he brings this up to his team, like, and if he's such a good like if he's so good at strategy, why is he doing this?
Now, does Epoch know that Jeffrey's on JR's side, or is that alliance only between them two, and they're the only ones that know?
Well, I mean, as we saw in this episode, I mean, they found out, I think, in this episode, Danielle was like on him after that. I mean, right after that, I
Yeah,
mean,
but like Epoch, the team that JR's on, do they
oh, do
know?
they know?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they know.
So
I don't.
even Jeffrey telling Sam kind of outs JR to them that JR has some sort of thing going with Jeffrey. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good
He
point,
kind of
and
screwed them both.
yeah, and and that brings up another thing about like this. I was wondering like, and it seemed today that they could really hear each other through the wall, but I was wondering like exactly how much they can hear each like through that wall, like how specific, like what they can hear,
Pretty
because they were
open at the
arguing a lot.
top. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, they had the big argument like right there. They were talking on the couch. I mean, if the other team was right there, can they hear that going on?
probably.
I mean, no one knows just like specifically that they have an alliance or that they're like that he gave them food or any of that, which I think is a non-issue. Like a lot of people on Twitter have been bringing that up that JR is like Two Face for whole keeping this food
From his
hidden and
team.
all that. Although he brought up in that little interview there that he has shared some of his food, just not all of it.
Well, I think it's kind of a one-sided alliance too. What the heck does JR bring to the table? It's like Jeffries just wants to be strategizing so bad that he's like, I'm in an alliance with this guy that brings nothing to the table, and I'm just constantly risking my status on this side by throwing him food and refusing to
Right.
go against him. And what does JR really bring to the table for this guy? Nothing. It's a horrible strategy.
Well, I think the only thing he's thinking is that if that JR, especially the first season or the first episode, was America's favorite, right? So he's thinking that JR is kind of like one of the favorites on the other side. So if he is the decider and they have an alliance, then he won't put him up.
Right, yeah, and we talked about that before, but I mean,
Yeah,
other than that one thing,
that's it.
there's really nothing else, and it's
Yeah,
like Jeffries just said they don't even show all the times that he's throwing food over the wall like every day, and It's
Right.
like, dude, you get caught by your alliance, your team one time, and then you're on the outs with them for the rest of the game. You're going to get put up for elimination every time, and they're going to try to get rid of you. So, I mean, you're risking all that on the off chance that JR is going to become the decider one week and it's going to benefit you somehow, like a 1% chance in the long run.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a stupid alliance, it's a stupid strategy. It's almost like he just like so wants to make moves that
He really does.
and there's really no moves to be made. I don't. This game
Yeah.
doesn't make a lot of room for people to make those kind of moves unless they're within their own team. You know, like, hey,
Exactly.
let's get together and vote this guy to go to the elimination, and then put him up against their best player and get his ass out of here. You know?
Well, I mean, I think if you got like two or three people on your own team, and then you're able to talk through the wall or through that little meeting, and then say, hey, get like two or three people that you trust on the other side, and then look, we got this like 4 or 6 person alliance that's kind of like the two or three on one team, two or three on the other. And you were always, I mean, eventually this, I mean, and pretty quickly after like 3 or 4 episodes, it's going to kind of come out because you're never, you're not going to be putting up the people that you should be putting up.
Right,
Um,
and there's not a lot of players in the game to begin with. It's not like Survivor where they start with what 16 people or 20 people
yeah,
or something. It started out with 12 people, and it's down to they lost the guy, and then they freaking three more out now, so they're down to 8 people now. So if you had two or three in an alliance on each side, you're looking at
mm,
maybe only a couple of people left on the outs.
yeah. And then I was talking to someone on Twitter, and they brought up that there's only what we got 3 weeks left, and there's a lot of people left, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 weeks, how they do
Yeah, I'm
that.
wondering how they're getting rid of everyone going forward. There must be something crazy coming up where people are going to start getting knocked out quick. You know what I mean?
Right. So okay, well, so let's get to the main point of this episode, I think, which is the biggest thing, and what most people are talking about right now is this final challenge. So, Angela, she goes and meditates, and after already be putting up and them kind of planning into her that maybe she should face Frank, they kind of left it up to her, saying, "Well, who do you want to face?" She took some time and came back with the answer that she thought that she might be able to beat Frank. I mean, a lot of people thought that like he would be like just real clumsy and stuff, and I think that if the challenge would have ended up being like kind of constructed the right way, she should have had a much better chance against him.
When Frank went through that first part of the obstacle where he had to crouch down and crawl through like a tiny little maze, he did that really fast. And before Angela was even down the zip line, he was already done with that and running at her. So
Yeah, well, and I thought about that right away. Like, obviously somebody with more weight is going to go down a zip line a lot quicker, and she was the smallest person.
yeah, she
Um,
was barely moving on that thing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she can't. She's probably like not more than 120 pounds. She's just like she was barely going down that thing, and so it took her a long time to get down. And I think her strategy there was, and the reason that she ran towards the pillars there because I think she thought they were stationary, and
That's
that
what I
she
was thinking too. She didn't know that he could just knock him over.
yeah, and that must have been like that must have been a little weird. Like she's running towards it, and all of a sudden these pillars are just
Just
falling towards her.
falling
And
all
she's just
over.
like oh, like this.
Fucking Frank coming through.
Like in the beast mode Hulk smash guy coming in.
And they're like, they weren't supposed to fall over.
Yeah, and I mean I really do. I feel like that they didn't think that was going to happen, but since it's a live show, are they going to really be like, no, no, no,
Start
let's
it
start
over,
over,
yeah.
let's reset it all up. You did that wrong. What can they do at that point? I mean, I guess I'm assuming at that point all they can only blame themselves because they didn't they didn't explain it properly.
Well, I think if she would have went straight for that little cage on the right?
Dude,
As soon as she
I
got down, went for that cage, Frank
right,
would have had to come in one end or the other. So whatever end he decided to go in, she
right,
runs out the other end and runs somewhere else. But instead, she ran right for that center shit, and it just
yeah.
and I couldn't really tell when she first like launched on the zip line if she
Mhm.
was able to jump or make herself go forward faster or anything, or if they kind of just set her in there and she had to just deal with whatever they put her with. But there
Yeah, I
may
mean, she
have
was
been a
pretty
way
quick
for
on
her
that.
to like jump off harder and get down there faster or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you can kind of run and kind of launch yourself off there, kind of, but she didn't. She had a small platform there, and I think she was on it pretty quick. I just like I said, man, I think it came down to like she didn't have a lot of weight to really like pick up momentum there, and if she would have gone in there and yeah, and Frank would have did she. I mean, her only opportunity after that is running out from the like little side tunnel would have been run to those pillars, and then he would have just done the same thing and just bowled him
Well,
over.
she was even saying that, like she was going to try to go run around the pillars real quick and then run back to that little cage thing. And
If you think about it, like if those pillars were close enough together and they were stationary, she could have really gotten mixed up in there because he was a big guy, real bulky. It would have been a lot harder for him to maneuver between those pillars.
right, but he just smashed them all and grabbed her.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of
I
ridiculous.
wonder if they told him that beforehand, like these pillars aren't, going to hold up to Frank. He's just going to charge right through these.
That's my biggest question for Angela. If we get to talk to her, I want to know about that. I want to know kind of the preparation before, kind of how they explained it, and because I really do. I think that they didn't explain that properly, and I think that when that happened, there wasn't much they could do at the time because it's a live show. Maybe maybe it just shouldn't be a live. Maybe it shouldn't be live.
That's what I've been saying. Who gives a shit about live?
Yeah, I mean, if it, like I said, I mean, Big Brother does it better as far as the live shows. They really, have it down. That you can see what's live going on in the house, and that brings the live aspect better. And that would, I think, work better with the whole Twitter thing. But
They need to
as
learn
far,
from Survivor. The only live show they do is the finale.
yeah, yeah,
The
absolutely,
reunion show, actually.
right.
But
So, but I gotta say,
even
like,
Angela was saying at the end of that, though, she was like, I ran the wrong direction. I ran the wrong direction. She kept saying that.
yeah, yeah. But hey, you got to give it to Angela. Kudos to her. I mean, she really, she said she wants that warrior spirit. She hopes people appreciate it, and
Yeah, she
I
was
for one
definitely
do.
my favorite on that team. And
Yeah.
besides, like probably Frank and Jesse at this point. But if there was one player I had to choose to come back, I would choose her over anybody else because I feel like
Like,
she had like a lot of like spirit and really trying hard, but just got the short end of the stick in a bad deal. You know what I mean? And like I think she could have done a lot better given some better circumstances.
yeah, I totally agree, and I really do. I hope that she ends up um, coming back, but I think at this point, unfortunately, the producers don't want to, you know, basically admit their fault. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's the first season. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I was
So
bummed to see her go, but if it meant Frank had to go home, sorry, Angela.
right.
Frank's my boy.
Okay, that pretty much wraps up this. We had a couple questions actually. Finally, we got some Twitter follows. If anybody actually listens to the show, please give us a feedback. I know a couple people have actually listened, and we've got some good feedback on it. So thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. But we had a question from at HECRRN on Twitter, and she asked us, "Why does Epoch not get? Why did Epoch not get their hurt player replaced in episode one? That was not an elimination challenge. I'm so confused. Thoughts?" So she's asking us, so when Charles there in the first episode got taken out right away, she's wondering why they didn't just replace him right away because that kind of made the teams uneven from the beginning.
Right,
What
he
do you
was
think about
their
that?
like their biggest, toughest player, and yeah, I think that's a really good question, and that's something I thought that would be addressed eventually in the show, and never was, and it kind of just became a non-issue. But I definitely think that their team was hurt bad by that, and it's not really that fair that one of their players gets injured and gets kicked out of the show, and then doesn't get replaced.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of normal. Truthfully, I mean,
If it was
like in
bigger teams like Survivor, if it was like 10 on 10 and one guy goes out at the beginning, no big deal, 10 on 9, we're talking about 12 people in the whole game. Well, they added two more, so I guess 14 people. And
right.
and we have 6 weeks and we lose one person every week. Sorry, I'm sidetracking here, but we lose one person every week. We have 6 weeks and we have 14 players.
Yeah.
how the hell is that going to work out?
Well, yeah, no, exactly.
I
When
don't
I'm sure.
understand.
Did we? I know we talked about this before. I'm not sure if it was on the cast, but yeah, no, we have 3 weeks left, and we've got a lot of players left, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Sorry, I kind of got off on it. But that's definitely a good question from the
It was
HECR.
RN at HECRRN. That's Heather Carrion on Twitter there.
Oh, okay, Heather.
And I know, thank, and we appreciate the question. Thank you so much. So, and then we had another one. Well, it's mostly just and actually we had a lot of communication from this guy at Highland Wizard on Twitter, and he left us some feedback. Just based, I think Angela should get to come back on and even it out. Well, as even as you can get it with a tank on the other side.
So she should come back on the show and go back onto Epoch just so that the teams are more balanced. Is that what he's
Well,
saying?
I think his thing is he's hoping that she gets a chance to get back on the show, and he's basically calling Tank out. He discussed this before. He thinks the teams were kind of uneven from the beginning because of Frank.
Well, you got Frank and Charles. That balances out. Although
Well, you
Charles
also
broke
had
his leg
Wyatt.
on the first show. Then you
Yeah,
had
I mean,
Wyatt and Jesse. That kind of balances out. And then you had Jeffrey and JR. I guess they're supposed to balance out. Although I think the favor there would be JR. So we're
mhm.
looking at deficit Kronos there. And then female wise, they had the gamer girl who, obviously didn't do very good in the challenges. And
Yeah,
then so put her up against, I guess, Sam, who never does any challenges. I guess that balances out. Then you have Lauren and Danielle. And then, who the heck's the other person on Kronos? Oh, Lisette. You could put
yeah.
Lisette,
Lizette.
or yeah, Lisette against Angela. They're both pretty fierce female competitors there, so that kind of balances out. And
Right.
so I think it's pretty balanced. And then when they
Okay.
got the new players, Steve was obviously the better player there. I mean, that guy's
Yeah.
young and fit, and has a good attitude. And then Kronos got the crazy black girl who's like freaking yelling at everybody. So
Mercy. It's hard to tell with her. I mean, we haven't really seen her really do anything in a challenge. So it's kind of
and the
we got to
same with
see.
Jeffrey too. I mean, Jeffrey and Mercy are both kind of like non-competitors, and so that's like compare them to JR and Steve on the other team. Would you rather have Jeffrey and Mercy or JR and Steve? So it's like Team Epoch's the one who started out stronger. It's just because the first guy broke his leg that they lost their like main big guy.
Right.
And then I think they just had a lot of bad strategy, bad tactics in competitions, put the wrong people up against the wrong people. I
Yeah.
mean, America's been pulling for him, giving him the vote every week, saying, "Hey, make it happen," and they keep fucking it up. So I
You
don't
know,
know. I
I,
can't really agree that the teams were unfair or unbalanced, and if they were, it was probably unbalanced towards Kronos. I mean, they probably had the worst team, overall.
yeah, no, you might be right there. Yeah, it's hard to tell because like Tank is a powerhouse, but I think if
But look how much Frank carries most of these competitions. If they had Charles still on their team, he'd probably be doing the same thing for him, and it would be a lot more competitive. But
so, do you think if they would have put Charles up against Frank in that particular challenge with the same way it's set up, he would have done better?
I think so because he's a military guy, and
Yeah.
just because you're a guy doesn't mean you can't be fast or agile.
See, I truthfully think the way they set it up with the pillars not being stationary just really
I
messed it
I
up, man.
pictured this competition would be better as two guys kind of in like a flagged football situation where they're
Yeah,
just trying to juke
absolutely.
each other, run from each other, a lot of quick like jukes and spin moves, and just because there was only a minute to kill. So for 1 minute, you just got to juke this guy away from getting your flag. And
Yeah.
then you got little Angela just running into the beast Frank, and she didn't really stand a chance.
Yeah, no,
A
I know,
bigger,
I
heavier guy
agree.
like Charles coming down that zip line, he'd have been down there in 2 seconds. He'd just be like whoosh, and he would like put his feet down and already be down there because he's so tall.
Yeah.
But,
So okay, and actually, Wizard actually he asked another question. He wanted to know if let's see, I would like to know if they going to anything that uses the brain, not just brute force. If all of them is going to be how strong you are. I think what he's trying to say is, he's wondering about these elimination challenges. Basically, is everything just going to be brute force, or are they going to actually like, throw some good challenges, like some more brain challenges, some puzzles, some
Yeah, good
things like
point.
that, something to even it out.
I've been asking myself the same thing. This is a lot of physical stuff. I haven't really seen a lot of mental. I think the most mental challenge was probably the one with the robot where they had to explain and communicate. But even
Yeah.
that was more like a logistical communication teamwork type thing, and not really a puzzle per se.
Well, and then they again, like they need to, take a page from Survivor here. If they're going to have the girls and these bigger, really athletic guys competing, they need to figure out a way to
Make it
even that
fair,
out.
yeah. The big guys are always going to win. It's like what Survivor does. They wear them out. They have them do some crazy physical shit,
Uh-huh.
and at the end of it, they're like, "Now solve this puzzle," and then
Well,
they're
look
all
at,
tired trying to figure the puzzle out.
or even like, I mean, like some of these challenges. I mean, what didn't like Tina win a challenge? Towards the end of last season, where you just hold on to the thing because, like a guy with a bigger, like more weight is not going to be able to hold on. Keep his weight up as long, as much as
Exactly,
like a tight,
exactly.
like Angela would have killed
Endurance
a challenge like
challenges,
that.
yeah, stuff like that. Balance, endurance.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing Survivor does, like they did in that rope tying one, is where you split the teams up. You have a couple people do this, you have a couple people do that. You have a puzzle somebody works on. You have some people doing a strength thing. You have some people doing something that involves balance or speed or something.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
really makes it more interesting. I mean, I hate to keep saying make it more like Survivor, but
I know.
goddamn, did you guys watch fucking Survivor before you made this show? I mean, God, they need to fire those producers.
Yeah, and make it your own. And I love the changes and stuff, but they need to take some cues.
And you never know, there might be legal issues with completely copying all Survivor shit too. So.
Yeah, but there's ways to even out the challenges. I think that wouldn't like
Right, right,
that
yeah.
wouldn't be
I
a
think they
problem.
could too. I think you make a good point there. That and this guy too, the wizard or Highland Wizard, he
Yeah, at
that's a
Highland.
great question because I want to know where are the brain challenges? Where are the things that make it so that these smaller girls actually stand a chance against these huge guys?
Yeah, no, they definitely they need to figure something out there.
And even Jeffrey, man, that guy don't stand a chance. That's why he doesn't want to go to the challenge. It's like,
Yeah, well,
I'm not going up against anybody. I'm a tiny little guy.
yeah, he really threw himself under the bus there.
Which I think is why he's so adamant about the strategy and the social game, because he knows he's not going to pull it off if he's up in some big physical challenge against one of these other bigger guys.
Right.
So he's like, I've got to get some strategy going here. I've got to have some.
Yeah. So and then actually, one last thing we did get, and actually I brought it up before, and I apologize because I kind of stepped all over a question, but um, let's see here let me see here at Kim underscore Brush Haber. So at Kim underscore BRUSHABER. She brought up the point about she was curious about how there's 10 players left and three more weeks left, and we brought that up. I just wanted to give her the credit for that question because that was a great question.
Yeah, we
So
should probably review these questions before we do the cast so we don't like go over their question.
no, what I kind of did, and I skipped that one. Sorry, so that was my fault.
You
But
fucking loser.
so okay, well, hey, I think that pretty much wraps up this
Hey,
episode.
what about yeah, no,
So,
that's cool. I thought we were gonna do our number one fans question of the week, or are we gonna do that next week or something?
oh, you know what? I talked to Diane. That is a segment that we want to bring in here. And I talked to her, and she was like, her question was kind of more for the previous episode with Wyatt. So that'll be something to look forward to. We're gonna have our number one fan of the week, Diane, come in, and I'm gonna actually have her record it, and then we'll talk about it. So that's something to look forward to now. So again, though, but seriously, any feedback from you guys? Any questions? If you heard us. Anything's appreciated. So just let us know if you heard it. So, that's all for this week. I'm Josh.
I'm B motherfucking P.
Hey everyone, BP here. I just wanted to say check out our website for more information and links to our podcast, tcecast.com. That's tcecast.com. Thanks for listening.